Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wanchuku Ezinestela, and I'm a student of the Protestant University of Rwanda, the Faculty of Peace Building and Development Studies. So today I'll be facilitating this topic on HIV, the human immune deficiency virus, understanding, prevention, and care. Introduction to HIV. HIV is a virus that attacks the human immune system, specifically the CD4 cells, weakening the body's ability to fight infections. Without treatment, HIV can lead to AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Let's look at this statistics of new infection of HIV in Rwanda, where we can see the ages below 24 years. We have 5.9 male and 4.8 female. And the ages from 25 to 34, you can see that it has a tendency that it's reducing. Then from 35 to 44, we'll have for male 1.8, then for the female 3.1. From 45 to 54, we have for the male 1.2, the female 3.9. From 55 and above, the range also reduced from 1.3 male, then the female 4.0. The overall, we have 2.8% of male that are affected with HIV in Rwanda, then 4.1% of female that are affected with HIV in Rwanda. This brings me to the differences between HIV and AIDS. HIV is the virus that causes infection, while AIDS is the final stage of HIV infection when the immune system is severely damaged. People living with HIV can live long and healthy life with treatment. In HIV, there are actually 3 phases of HIV: the acute infection, the chronic infection, and the AIDS stage. Let me talk about the acute infection, which is the high viral loads, fluid-like symptoms. Symptoms like you feel fatigue, some tend to have rashes, etc. To the chronic infection stage, the virus is active but controlled because the CD4 cells decreases slowly. On the last stage, which is the AIDS stage, the CD4 cells count extremely low and the immune system is severely weakened. To explain the CD4 cells, the CD4 cells are the white blood cells that protect the body, and HIV/AIDS destroys these cells. The lower the CD4 count, the weaker the immune system. What are the modes and ways of transmission? HIV is found in the blood, semen, vaginal fluids, and breast milk of the person living with HIV. And this transmission occurs when a sufficient quantity of this fluid enter another person's bloodstream. What are the myths about HIV? HIV cannot be transmitted through sharing of foods, coughing or sneezing, mosquito bites, magic or witchcraft, sweat, tears, your saliva, your vomit, urine, and stool. Because there are no known cases of transmission through casual contacts. What are the prevention methods? The behavioral prevention method of HIV is 1, abstaining from sex. We need to abstain from sex. And when in a relationship, you be in a faithful, monogamous relationship with someone who is not living with HIV. And for youth that wants to have sex, you need to use consistent and correct condom use, and also practice safer sexual practices. Diagnosis and treatment of HIV, of sexually transmitted disease such as herpes and syphilis, offers some protections, because syphilis and herpes are likely to lead to HIV if they are not properly taken care of. Then avoid sharing needles, safe blood transfusion, and male circumcision lowers the risk of HIV infection by 60% for men. The prevention method, condom use. Female and male condom. The only method that prevents HIV, STI, and unintended pregnancy. Male condom prevents 87 to 96% of HIV transmission, while the female condom prevents 75 to 82% of STI, including HIV and unintended pregnancy. Not 100% due to inconsistent and incorrect use and storage. Exposure to heat and sunlight diminish quality of the condom. I don't know if you've heard of PEP. PEP, known as the post-exposure prophylaxis, is a pill. This is a pill taken 28 days to reduce the risk of HIV transmission. This pill needs to be taken under 48 hours because it reduces the risk of having HIV. That is when you've come in contact with someone that has HIV. Ideally, to be used within 48 hours, then reduce the risk of transmission to almost 0. HIV counseling and testing. The HIV counseling and testing, HCT, helps people know their HIV status and get support, and is divided into 2 main types. We have the VCT, that is the voluntary counseling and testing, and the PITC, the provider-initiated testing and counseling. Antiretroviral treatment, ARV. ARV does not cure HIV, but can slow down and almost halt the productions of the virus in the body. And HIV becomes a manageable chronic illness. Treats all. Strategy in Rwanda: everyone who tests positive begins treatment. The ARV must be taken every day at the same time and in the correct way. HIV can become resistant to ARV, leading to second to third line drugs, expenses are less available. Then we have the minus U equals to U. That is undetected equals to untransmittable. Who are the vulnerable groups for HIV transmission? The vulnerable groups are the sex workers, people who trade their body for money. We have men who have sex with men, transgender, the hormones. We also have people who inject drugs dealers that use syringe to inject drugs in their body. We also have people with sexually transmitted infections like STI. Like I said, untreated STI can automatically lead to HIV. We have women and girls. That means women and girls that are being trafficked, sex slaves that are being trafficked for sex slaves. We have youths, they are vulnerable. We have truck drivers, migrant workers, refugees, and prisoners. In conclusion, HIV is preventable. Knowing your status and practicing preventions saves life. Together, we can end HIV stigma and build healthy community. Thank you very much. This is my presentation. I am open to listen to your questions, areas where you're having some confusion. I'm here to listen. Thank you. You have a question? Yeah, you can ask a question.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really mind-blowing. Okay, so my question goes thus. We know we know in today's community, HIV is like seen like a taboo. Meanwhile, people with HIV, they're equal with us. Yes, they are no difference. They have no difference with us. We are human. So my question is, these people face a lot of stigma. So we, as the people who are not infected, how can we give how do they call it, psychosocial first aid to these people who suffering from HIV? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. You said, if I may hear you, you said, how can you give psychosocial first aid to people that are infected with HIV? Yeah. Like I said, HIV is an illness, but should not be seen as a stigma. So for you that you are not infected, for you to be able to give that, let me call it a therapy, for someone who is infected with HIV, firstly, you have to understand their situation. You understand their situation, you build a room of trust that person can trust you with exposing what they are going through. And again, when you build a room for trust, you offer them what they call empathic listening. You express empathy towards their feelings. And someone with HIV doesn't need discrimination or judgmental words, or you being judgmental, you being sarcastic about what they are trying to tell you. If they just want you to know this is what they are going through, they just want you to understand what they feel, what they go, because most of these people are not, they are actually, some of them might be rape victims, some of them might be contacted through needles and they were unaware. So for you to show that kind of person a therapy, you need to first understand their situation. 2, build a room of trust that can connect the both of you together. Then 3, empathic listening. You also create initiatives, organize workshops that can make them express themselves more. You organize different activities that can make them, because most of all these people like to be in their shell. They hide in their shell. They don't like to come out. So you build initiatives, you build programs, you build workshops that engage them, inclusive program. Thank you. Any other question? Okay, to the people on the line, sorry, there's an heavy rain. We'll have to wait for a couple of some minutes because we're having issues with the rain. Thank you. The first question is there a possibility of living in a world without HIV? If yes, how possible? Yes, there's a possibility if we put together the tools that we have, that is early treatment, universal testing, the use of ARV, and wide-scale preventions and vaccines. These are the ways we can be able to live in a world without HIV. That is why they will say, go check your status, know your status, so you can be able to be sure that you're clean of it, because you can't just assume that you are HIV negative. So as a youth or someone who has practiced an unsafe sex, you need to go check your status to know your status, because the possibility of living in a world without HIV depends on we individuals. because I can't give the 100% assurance that there can't be a world without HIV. There can be a world without HIV, and there can be a world with HIV, depending on how we as individuals manage ourselves to prevent HIV. So this is why there should be initiatives and workshops to educate, to train, to create awareness about this particular disease, because most people are not still aware, they are not experienced. So for us to build a world without HIV, we have to create the awareness of HIV. We have to teach people about HIV, and even those with HIV, we have to give vaccines, teach them other preventive way they can actually live with another person without spreading it. Then the second question is, can anyone who has sexual contact with us, can anyone who has sexual contact, unprotected sexual contact, develop HIV? If you have an unprotected sexual contact with an HIV victim without knowing, like maybe for a long period of time, definitely you will contact HIV. But when you have HIV, when you have an protected sex with an HIV victim or with a person, the first thing you're supposed to do is first to get that PEP, that drug. At least it is effective for 48 hours, but less effective after 72 hours. So after having an unprotected sex, you need to go to the pharmacy to get the PEP, that drug. That is the only saving grace. But when you have an unprotected sex and you don't take any preventive measure after 48 hours, automatically you've contacted the illness. Then the third question is, what strategy can we use to convince the people in the village to use condoms? Because some men love having sex raw. The strategy I feel we can use is first, like I said, awareness. Awareness matters. Taking trained professional facilitators into those village or rural areas, creating a workshop, an HIV workshop, to educate them, telling them that condom is not bad. The use of condom is not bad, or it doesn't really mean you will not be satisfied, but it's a means to save both your life and the life of the person you're having sex with. And if peradventure they don't want to use condom, that is why there are drugs they can use after having unprotected sex. So it's a two-way thing to educate them about the need, the importance of using condom. And even if you want to have an unprotected sex because you feel it's your culture, firstly, know the status of the person you want to have sex with and know your status, that both of you are negative. But in a situation where you don't know your status and neither the status of the other person you want to have sexual pleasure with, you need to educate them about the importance of the use of condom. So to address this, the most important strategy that you can use to convince people in the rural area is educating them, creating awareness campaign. Those are the strategy you can use. I hope I answered your question. And if there are other questions, I'm open to answer. Thank you. Kitata Defe. If I may hear you say, you said, what would I advise someone who doesn't want to go to the hospital to know their status because of they don't know how to accept it or how to feel about it? One of the conditions that kill people with HIV is what I call the stigma and the stereotype of HIV. Because HIV is not a death sentence. So you not wanting to go to the hospital to know your status because you don't know how to accept it is what is the first killer that has killed you first. Because having HIV is not a death sentence, because you can live with HIV. HIV, you can live with HIV. But when HIV is not properly cared for, automatically it leads to AIDS. So knowing your status is the first step to living comfortable with HIV, knowing your status. Because when you know your status, the doctors will not only give you treatment, but they also help you psychologically. They carry you all the way. They give you therapy. They educate you. They give life to you, because most people feel when they have HIV, the hope of living is gone, has ended. But no, having HIV doesn't mean there's no hope. Most people with HIV even live longer than people without HIV. That is if they are properly taking care of themselves. They will advise you on what to eat, things to do. So you don't have to be scared to go know your status. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to allow the stereotypes that come with having HIV get into your head. You need to be brave. You need to embrace the condition. That is, if you have it, that is the first step to live. Embrace the condition. Look forward into taking medications that will help you manage the condition. HIV can be managed. You can manage it, you can live fine, you can achieve your dream even as an HIV victim. So I will advise you, everybody, not to be, don't be shy, don't feel shame to go and to get tested to know if you're positive or negative. No, you go, you know your status, so that you can be helped. There are people, there are trained personnel that are waiting to help you, to talk to you, to help you walk through the journeys of managing HIV. So you should always have the courage to go do HIV test. Thank you.
We can make
Your Delphine, you also said the use of condom does not encourage people to have sex. I don't know. Well, like we youth, I don't know, for youth, you feel like the pleasure of sex is when you have it raw. It's not mandatory. Nobody's mandating you or a must, but it's just a prevention. It's for your own good, like I said. Using condoms is for your own good. Or if you feel like you don't want to use condom, then you should practice what they call monogamous relationship. Just you and your woman, and one woman. And you should make sure that that one woman that you're having carnal access of also doesn't have another partner that she's having sex with. So it's just why we are saying you should use condom is because You don't know what you might not know what your partner is capable of doing. You might trust yourself, but do you trust if your partner is 100% loyal? That is why you should use condom. And if you don't want to use condom, there's an alternative. There are drugs. You can get the drug. After having sex, you take the drug. If you feel like you want to have a raw sexual intercourse, and you don't want to use condom, you can use drug. After 24 hours or 48 hours, you take the drug, then you'll be fine. But we are just saying that it is safe to practice a safe sexual intercourse, because you never can tell what the person you are having sex with has. It might not be HIV, it might be STI, it might be STD, it might be herpes. So that's why we say practicing safe sex matters for youth, not even youth, as we individuals, as humans, we need to practice safe sex. Thank you. Michael, the CD4 cells, like I explained, are actually in every human being has the CD4 cells, which is the white blood cell. It is found in your white blood cell because your white blood cell is created to fight against bacteria, fight against viruses. But the virus coming from HIV can be coming in a large amount that can weaken the white blood cells. Because all human beings are born with the white, everybody has a white blood cell that fight against disease. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kitata Delphine. Yeah, during the YENA, you will be able to elaborate more on this HIV topic. We're able to talk more, receive more questions, dive deeper into the topic. I think we have a question here.
Thank you for your presentation. And I would like to ask, by using a condom during an intersex, so I would like to know if a condom can protect someone 100%. And if he know when and how a man who is using a condom can get HIV. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mukwa, for the question. How someone can contact HIV while using a condom is if the if the condom is being exposed to an unfavorable weather condition. Because clearly when you buy a condom, it's written a temperature in which you can keep the condom in. And again, you have to check properly if the condom is not torn. If it's not torn or has any loop, any hole in it, or maybe using the same condom twice, that is when you can. But a condom would give you like a 99% protection from HIV, in 99% protection from HIV. So for you to be careful, even while using a condom, is for you to check properly the condom you are using. Is it in the right condition? Like when it's been exposed, you know, when you buy a condom, there's this oil that's in the condom. So is it when it's been exposed to an unfavorable condition? It won't do exactly what it was meant for. It won't protect you that 100% that it was meant for. So that is why you should, when you buy, you store it well. It's just like a drug. You need to store it well. And ensure that even when you are trying to have sex with a condom, the person you're having sex with doesn't have probably an injury in her VG areas, because like that you can't tell. There might be an exchange of fluid, and you can contact it. So you should be watchful and mindful. Even when using a condom, you should be watchful and mindful. Thank you. Delphine, thank you very much. If I hear you say there is no condom that can be used twice. You use a condom once. One condom, one penetration. Another penetration, another condom. You don't use a condom twice. It's not hygienic for you to use a condom twice. Because using it once has served it has served its purpose. So I don't think there is a condom that is being produced that is used twice. No, there's no condom that is being produced that is used twice. Both the male and the female condom should be used once. And once after that penetration, it should be disposed and and trashed. So I hope I answer your question. Please don't use one condom twice. Thank you. Okay. Delphine, you said someone told you there are condoms you can use twice. For ladies that you can use twice. No, there's no female condom that can be used twice, please, because for the ladies condom, you are inserting it into your body. So how can you use something that you've inserted into your body twice? Because when it's used once, automatically it has been contaminated. There are germs there. Like they are unseen bacteria that are already there. So you using it twice expose yourself to what they call sexually transmitted infection. You start having sexual transmitted infections even when you use a condom because you did not use the condom well. So please, when next someone is bringing such theory, you should also do your findings. And that is why this workshop is here, to also educate some of us that are novice to this. Because for you to practice safe sex, cleanliness also matters in practicing safe sex. You need to be, as a lady and as a guy, you need to be clean. well use of condom, well use of drugs to clean your VD areas, use of wash, vaginal wash, all those things to make sure that after sex your private part is neat, is not keeping bacteria within. You shave properly, you clean your, like seriously, we just for you to prevent all of this, you need to just practice good cleanliness habits here. I think good hygiene. Please, no repetition of condom. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rukundo Angie. You said, how can we eradicate this bad habit of young, let me say young teens that are underage that are practicing sex? Firstly, as we are youth, like we are the ones to impact this change, because I can say the older generation, some of the older generation has failed in their responsibility to induce what they call sexual education to their teens. So one of the strategy that I think we as youth, that we are the change makers, we can do is, one, educate. Go into, because I feel most people think, oh, these kids are still young for me to talk about sex to them. No. You try to teach them young. From age 10 to 15 or 16 years old, we create sex education workshop where you teach them, you teach them both the positive and the negative effect of teen sex, how it might mime their life or build their life. But I don't think having sex at a young age will build your life. So that is why we have to come in to give what they call sex education. When a child is reaching puberty, at that time, that child tends to experience what they call teenage flaws. And in that teenage flaws, they feel uncontrollable and they have this urge to want to do, to explore. Let me use the word to explore. So what we have to do to mime this teenage or underage sex is to educate them. Tell them the repercussion that comes with having unprotected sex. Tell them how this unprotected sex can lead to unwanted pregnancy. Telling them how unwanted pregnancy can also ruin your future. So these are the strategies we have to use. Education is a strategy. Enlightenment is a strategy, because some of these kids are not being educated or being groomed. A mother will feel, oh, if I begin to tell this child about sex, I'm trying to expose this child to sex. No, but when you talk to a child about sex, you're about to build the brain to know that when an opposite gender brings these ideas to you, you will know that, oh no, I'm not prepared for this. I'm educated about this. Oh, we could have this if we do this. It can result to it. I can have contact an STD. Oh no, you can ruin our future. It's not just about having HIV. It's about how this thing will mime the future that we are trying to build. So as we that we are enlightening, we need to go into secondary schools, go into the village, organize workshop, teach them, tell them how to care for themselves in their puberty, educate them on what they call menstrual cycle, how to calculate menstrual cycle, what to do and what not to do. When you start teaching them from that tender age, they begin to have this wisdom. They begin to have this perception that, oh, if I walk towards this way, I will not fall victim into having HIV, or I won't fall victim of some of unwanted teenage pregnancy, or I won't be a victim of sexual transmitted disease. So we need to enlighten them first from a very young age, because the teens and youth are actually the future of the generation that we are building tomorrow. So if we don't start to groom this generation from now to create an awareness that there is something called HIV and AIDS, when you don't practice safe sex, and at a young age, sex shouldn't be your goal at a young age. Sex shouldn't be what you should be wanting, shouldn't be what you should be craving for. You need to divert their brains into other creative activities that will make them like participate, like this program, like YENA, involve, create activities, create workshop, create initiative that would encourage active participation of teens. By this, when they are educated about something like this, I'm sure they will also be, when they get to this stage that they're educated, they begin to educate other things too. So I hope I answer your question. Thank you. Uh, um, Kikita Delphine, thank you. You said African parents and churches are also they play a big role in this not wanting to talk. Yeah, it's true, because African parents feel like it's uncultured to teach a child about sex, or even churches, they feel it's forbidden. Is this, it's that? No. Because even in the Bible, it is written in the commandment of God that thou shalt not fornicate and thou shalt not commit adultery. So if as a church, we don't want to speak up to educate people about the negativity in having sex, because you feel like using that word sex is improper, or deem you as a sinner, that is where all this issue start from. Because if from the church they can't organize programs that will bring teens, young teenagers and youth, educating them, teaching them about these improper sexual activities, and parents sitting their children down to tell them about improper sexual activities. Comparison, most of the time when parents begin to compare their children with other of their age mates, not knowing what their age mates are actually doing to get everything that they are doing, is another thing that also lead a teen into moving away from a positive attitude into a negative attitude. So we parents African parents and churches need to do better, like you said. Thank you. So I would encourage every one of us as boys and girls, teens and adults, everybody watching and listening to me, that we all need to, first of all, just take the courage to know your status. And even when after knowing your status and you feel and probably you are an HIV/AIDS victim, try to reach out to people that will help you, psychologically, give you that empathic listening that you deserve, because you don't need to hide and live in the shadow of yourself. HIV doesn't mean it's the end of your world, but HIV can be managed with proper administration of the right medications. So for youth that wants to have sexual intercourse, I encourage and tell you that you should use preventions. Take preventions, because prevention is better than harm. So it's better you prevent it than for you to have it and start living in the stigma. Don't stigmatize yourself. Come out and speak to somebody. If you want to know more, you can browse about it. Browse about it. You can ask questions. You can also ask questions, even ask online. You can still come ask questions if you want to know more. So thank you. I'm still open for your questions. Thank you very much. Michael, you asked what can be done when someone just had sex, unprotected sex. Like I said, when you have you've done or have unprotected sex, you can, firstly, you have to, the most important thing you have to do after an unprotected sex is to go get the PEP drug, the post-exposure prophylaxis. That PEP drugs is going to help you from getting infected with HIV. So I think that is the only safe thing you can do after having an unprotected sex, because I can't say you should use a condom again because you've already had the sex. So what you can do is to go get the medications. Thank you. I hope I answer your question. Then what are the barriers that prevent widespread adoption of condom or female condom? The barriers could be cost and supply, because I think the female condom is way expensive than the male condoms. and low awareness. Some ladies don't even know that there is a female condom. Like myself, I don't know that there is a female condom, nothing like that. So our low awareness can also be the cause. Then we have stigma and gender dynamics. Stigma and gender dynamics is seen as a sign of distrust. Men often resist. Some men often resist when a lady said, "Oh, I'm using the female condom." Some men often resist it. So we also have the barrier like limited access, misinformations, some misinformations that causes stereotype that as a lady, why should you be having a female condom? Oh, what you are having a female condom means like you are probably a sex freak or a wayward person and the likes. So I think those are the barriers. So you said, how can young women push female condom use in HIV prevention program? Like I said, you start you coordinate a workshop that talks about this, that talks about HIV, is how women can come into campaigns of adopting female condom. You organize HIV/AIDS workshop, educating them, because most ladies, like I said, are not aware that there's something called a female condom that a lady can, and some don't even know how to even use it. That is where awareness comes in. Awareness campaign, educational program, inclusive dialogues. Those are the ways you can create awareness and ladies can be included in this HIV/AIDS program. Then we have leverage on social medias, like creating short clips, talking about HIV, advocacy, activism. You can, as a lady by yourself, you make a TikTok videos talking about HIV, posting about HIV, doing campaign, hashtags. These are things that would bring 100% participations of youth, most especially females, in knowing about these adoptions of female condoms in prevention of HIV. So I hope I answer your questions. If there are other questions, I'm open. Okay. Moses, you have a question?
Thank you for the opportunity. I just have something very small to ask. From your presentation, you said most people with HIV or people who are HIV positive, they suffer stereotype and stigma. So my question is, what can we do as the youth in order to prevent them from this kind of suffering?
Thank you very much. If I may hear you say that people who suffer from HIV are often faced with stereotypes and stigma, and as youth, how can we help, or what role can we play to help them in the society? I think firstly, we'll engage family early as the youth. We'll engage the family early by hosting a workshop that focus on family, where parents and siblings learn the fact about HIV together. You teach them on how to embrace, because the stigmatization of HIV firstly comes from the family. When some of your family tend to learn that you are an HIV victim, you see then they begin to isolate you. They isolate you, but when you create a workshop first to educate families on how to interact, how to live together with an HIV victim. Then after that, you monitor and their response, like making a survey and suggestion box where they will have to come and like every day put in their ideas or the growth or some lapses they are still facing even after the workshop. You monitor the response. Then after, you distribute stigma reduction materials like flyers, making short clips that is talking about HIV and AIDS, like creating a platform where people can come and express themselves. Like, for example, my story section, where you can call victims with HIV and AIDS. You have a forum where everybody share their story, creating empathic listening, where you listen to them without judgment. You create a room of trust where they can find it easy to come to you, to come and solicit your assistance, your knowledge. So as we youth, we need to create workshops where we'll be able to meet with most of all these people living in HIV, where they are able to share their stories, then move out to the society where they live and teach them how to interact, how to live with people that have HIV, telling them that HIV cannot be contacted. Even when you eat with them, you can't contact HIV. Even when you are sleeping on the same bed with them, you can't contact HIV. Even when you are putting on the same clothes with the victim, you can't contact HIV. Even when you even drink water from the same cup, you can't contact HIV from this person. And you tell them, oh, the only way you will contact HIV is or when you share needle, or probably the person is exposed to an HIV victim blood. So education is a way to stop stereotype, because I feel the reason why there are stereotypes and stigma about HIV is because people are unaware. They are not aware that HIV is not a death sentence. People are not aware of how they can contact it and how they cannot contact it. They are just living on the speculations and the methodology that, oh, when I sit with the person that has HIV, I'll contact HIV. So to shun stereotype and stigma is to educate people, build a room of trust, build a room of connectivity, where people connect through their stories. I think that is how we can come in as youth to be able to abolish this stereotype that HIV victims often face. I hope I answer your question, Moses.
Hello. I have a question.
Okay, Amina.
Is it possible to stay negative HIV while your husband or wife of who are positive HIV? Is it possible?
Yes, it's possible for you to be negative, even if your spouse is HIV positive. To buttress my point, if when the husband is HIV positive, it was early detected that he was HIV positive and you've not had sexual intercourse with him in the time that he was positive, you can be negative. And even when you're negative, you and your husband can still live together as husband and wife without you being positive, because that with the awareness that he's HIV positive, you will know the preventive measure you have to use. Now you have to start incorporating the use of condoms. Even if your husband don't want to use condom, you can purchase the medicine, the medication that fights against getting HIV, being infected with HIV. You can start using it. Immediately after sex, you use the medication. You won't still have HIV. So it's possible for the husband to be positive and the wife should be negative. Do you understand me, Amina?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, start. Okay, yeah. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. It's really nice. And I have one question. So during your presentation, you show us like different way where HIV or AD can be transformed. So as you know, there is like intercourse, sexual intercourse, or blood transformation. So, and I was wondering, during the war period or disasters, how can the people can prevent HIV? Because I think most of the time, HIV can be escalated. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. If I may hear you, you said during the war times, there were spread of HIV and people were not aware of how to prevent it. So I should enlighten more on how people can prevent HIV during the war time. Yeah, so during the war time, how HIV got spread was because of there was exposure to blood. Exposure to blood and the use of untreated syringe. That is the needle. Untreated syringe in administering medication on multiple people. You could see there was no time for the medical team to even change the syringe that they are using. They just use for this and use for this and use for the other person. And we could also see that during the wartime, why there was a large spread of HIV was because most of the army from the other parts believe that the way they can win or dominate their opposite the opposite part they are fighting against is by raping their women. We can see that during the 1994 genocide here in Rwanda, because you could see that there were a lot of rape. They will rape the victims of the other people they are fighting against, and without protection. So that was why there was a widespread of HIV during the wartime, because people will be touching blood of another, they were exposed to the blood of another person. And again, when they were even taken to the hospital and everything, or maybe they were trying to even do a first aid treatment to stop the blood, you see them use a syringe that is not properly cleaned or properly taken care of. You see, they'll use it on the person. So that was why there was that widespread. So to stop the prevention of HIV during the wartime is one, to stop the this use of rape in order to be able to gain dominion over a particular tribe or a particular country that they're fighting for. Women and children should not be used as a weapon for men to exercise their supremacy during the wartime. They should shun the habit of raping ladies, or even men. Not even ladies were raped, even some men too were raped during the wartime. So to prevent all these things is like, first of all, the world should try to embrace what they call unity. Even in our diversity, we should learn that violence is not the way to reach our incompatible goals. Violence is not the way. Sometimes we don't have to be destructive just because we want to obtain something. Sometimes that is when negotiation comes in. We need to negotiate, to talk things out, to reach a consensus about something. That is what we can actually use to stop HIV in the wartime. Or probably the World Health Organization has to come in maybe during wartime to be able to help victims that are injured on time, so that they don't get exposed to other people that are free. So I think that's all I have to say on that. Thank you very much for all the questions. I really like the fact that this section was very interactive. And with all this said, this brings us to the end of the section. And if there are further more questions, you can ask after. So I would like us all to on our cameras, because we would like to have a group photograph. So please turn on your camera. Thank you very much for joining. See you in the next section next week, Monday. Thank you. Miracle Charlie.